It is official. I brought my first interview to Hey Lacie Jaye, the podcast, and I cannot wait for you to listen to this episode. Tara Kirby is the founder of Dream Coach Academy, and the doors are open for Conscious Coach certification. And so, Conscious Coach certification is what I have actually been going through over the last 8 months. We still have 2 months left. It is a 10-month program where you are going to get multiple certifications like life coaching, alignment coaching, energetic coaching, human design coaching, sound healing, breath work. This year, they're bringing in Reiki. It is really, really cool. I wanted her to come onto the podcast to share a little bit of her story, where she was, and how Dream Coach Academy actually came to life. And then, of course, sharing a little bit from my own story, taking the Conscious Coach certification and then going to retreat. It was such an impactful retreat. So we just share a little bit of all of it, what you can expect. She is such an incredible human being, and I'm excited for you to listen. If you are interested in potentially creating a business or a life that's in alignment with who you are, I highly recommend checking out the Conscious Coach certification, seeing if this is something for you. There's going to be all the information in the show notes, just as an FYI, where you can get more information, where you can sign up. And I'm just so excited to bring Tara on. So enjoy. So Tara, welcome to the Hey Lacie Jaye, the podcast. I'm so excited to have you to share your vision, your story, your mission, who you are, and what you are doing for women in the world and the ripple that you're having. It is incredible to see what you're doing. I have a little thing that I pulled off of the website of who Tara is. So I'm going to introduce Tara, and then she's going to just we're going to let this thing flow and share a little bit about who she is and what she is doing. So Tara is here to help women reclaim their power and come back to self, to live fully expressed in their infinite potential, and to create income and impact. It's kind of the part that I pulled. And I've just had the chance to see you in person and be with you in person, and then also be mentored by you, and it's been really special. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited.
Well, thanks.
Yes.
So before we kick off, I love to share human design stuff, who you are in human design, for those who are also into human design. And that way they can kind of have that connection piece and just see a little bit of your story and how that can connect with them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Tara Kirby. I am a mama three. I'm a business owner. I am a mentor. I am a coach. I am so many different things, but in human design, I am a 6-2 sacral generator.
Mhm.
And the generator energy is flowing. I love being here with you, Lacie, because obviously I've mentored you. So I know your energy type as well. And buckle up because you guys are going to be feeling the energy between us two.
The generator sparkly goodness is
Mm,
here.
yes.
Oh my goodness. Thanks so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Okay, so my heart with you coming onto this podcast and sharing is, not only did I get the chance to meet you in person in a completely different situation of
Mm.
you okay, first of all, you are like a ball of energy and sparkly juiciness, because we met at a conference in Salt Lake, and it was off time or lunch or something, and I'm pretty sure we were walking the runway, we were doing shoots together, we were having so much fun. I just feel like we had, first of all, that instant connection.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so fun.
It was amazing.
And you just have such a history with helping women feel incredible, and I feel like you just see right through just the core of who they are. And
Mm.
so I loved that about you. I love that you shared business tips with just being open, and I got to share a little bit of my story with Arise and Radiate that I'm still working on launching. And you've just given such key like gold nuggets that day that it was so fun to like meet you that way first.
Mm,
Um, and then I got to spend time with you in a very intimate setting with becoming part of the Conscious Coach certification and being able to see you like in your fullness and in your magic of what you do and how you truly help women like live and come home to themselves and really pull out their goodness because you're just this wizard. You're like a magician in seeing something and then being like, well, what about this, this, and this? And it's just such a gifting that you have, um, which I would love to share more, like even more about the retreat if we want to. But I figured we could share a little bit of the Conscious Coach certification, what you do, or how you even got there.
yeah.
Obviously, this is my first time doing
Yeah.
all of this.
Well, first, thank you for seeing me in that gift. Um, it has been a long time coming for me to be able to just really accept and honor that in myself. And so my story, if you will, starts all the way back. I mean, we're not going to go all the way back to childhood, but I mean, essentially, it starts there. I grew up as an only child. I had parents that worked. I feel like I raised myself. A lot of my life felt like I was trying to navigate figuring out who I was without having a lot of support of being seen or being heard. And that just impacted who I became as a human being. And being a 6'2" generator, it actually wasn't until I turned 28 that I ended up pregnant with my first. I was in a very volatile relationship, and it was not a healthy environment for me to be in. And I found myself pregnant and single. And while simultaneously going through that, I stepped into entrepreneurship. So I stepped into motherhood and entrepreneurship simultaneously. I had a full time job that was just not going to be in alignment with me being able to be the mom that I was feeling called to be while also navigating this season of life, which is so interesting because growing up an only child, I felt very isolated. And then I found myself in this not relationship, being a mom, very isolated. I was the only friend in my friend group that was having kids. And so navigating that and entrepreneurship, and fast forward, my daughter was about 16 months old and I met my husband, my now husband. And he and I met. We got married within 6 months. I got pregnant 4 weeks after that. And so within a year of life, I was navigating being a mom, being an entrepreneur, and also learning how to be a wife and really learning who I was. And this was all happening between the time that I was like 28 to 31 years old. And I was like, who am I actually? Because every person version of me that I was evolving into took the version before. And as I brought all of those versions into my existence, I was like, I don't actually like who this person is. I had a lot of anger that I was the chill friend, right? I was the go with the flow. I'm the chill friend, like I'm just happy to be there. But under the surface there was a lot of anger and there was a lot of animosity and there was a lot of unfaced shadows that I didn't realize what they were because this is before my own awakening. And so it was actually all of these things put together, navigating motherhood, navigating entrepreneurship, navigating being a wife, and then also having another baby. And I got to a point where I didn't know who I was. I was not the wife I wanted to be. I was not the mother I wanted to be. I wasn't making money in my business. I was hustling and hustling and hustling to barely make ends meet. We were living in a home, and my husband had a full time job, but our situation, we just were real, real poor. And I decided I didn't want to live like that. I didn't want to live in what I called the stressful, which was the stress induced hustle. And so, fall of 2018, I got to a point where I was like, God, if you're out there, what am I supposed to be doing? And I had this like come to with myself where I realized that I had the power to define who it was I wanted to be moving forward. And until that moment, I just thought life was happening, right? I was just on the ride and whatever was happening was what was happening. But then I discovered meditation. I discovered manifestation. I discovered the law of attraction. I discovered the unconscious mind and our belief system and how we are formed from a young age. And I stepped so fully into that world of remaking myself. And through that, using the gifts that were always with me. Previous to the work that I do now, I was a hairstylist. And so I worked behind the chair and I did a lot of work with women specifically. And I was helping them transform on a surface level. But really, what I loved about what I was doing was I was helping them on a deeper level. Women would come sit in my chair. They would bring me their problems. They would bring me their drama. They would tell me what's going on with their boyfriends or their work. And we would problem solve together. And then they'd come back after getting their hair done. They'd be like, Tara, I did what you told me to do. And oh my gosh, it worked. And I was like, interesting. I think there's something here.
Yeah.
And so that is when I actually stepped into the world of coaching because doing hair for the surface level of what it wasn't inspiring to me and it wasn't lighting me up. And once I discovered my gift of being able to coach women and help them see themselves and help them navigate who they are and become more of who they wanted to be, after taking myself through that transformation for self, I feel like I finally found who I was and who I was put on this earth to be. And I did that for a while and it was wonderful and it was great. And then I had this call to go deeper and to help more people. And in the coaching world, it's a beautiful experience to be helping people in a one to one setting. But I knew that the tools that were helping me needed to reach more people. And for them to reach more people, I needed to teach other women how to come back to themselves and to utilize these tools to build their own businesses. And so that's how Dream Coach Academy was born, through this desire of helping other women build impactful businesses, taking these tools, relearning who they are themselves, and then creating that ripple effect that goes off into the world. And then fast forward even more time, I started integrating deeper tools. So originally, when we launched Dream Coach Academy, we were focused more on meditation, mindfulness, and the subconscious mind. But then I discovered human design, which we all know is such an incredible blueprint for us to be able to see ourselves. But I saw it from a coach standpoint where I was like, the women I was helping in their businesses, when I could help them in their design, they saw more success. They saw more alignment. They saw deeper connection to themselves. So I started using human design for myself and in my work. And then I discovered breath work. And then I discovered more and more tools that are now a part of our conscious coach certification program. So our conscious coach certification program, Lacey's actually in the first iteration of that program, of being able to take women through these 8 certifications to be able to find their own medicine by not changing who they are, but really connecting into who they have always been and reminding them of why they were put on this earth. And every woman who comes into my world, I know without a shadow of a doubt that they have that inside of them and that part of them is looking for that. And those women end up in my world. And then we work together to co create the opportunity of stepping into your purpose and into your power so you can reach your potential. But not just that, but you can actually impact the world and create income for your family. Because as we're able to do that, as we're able to create abundance in our own lives and in our own families, we're able to actually bring that more and more into the world to impact even more people. So that's Cliff's Notes version.
Yes. Oh, yes, girl.
When you put me on my
I
soapbox.
love it though, because I mean, it's so fun because we just, part of what we're working on now is developing the business. Like we've gone through all the coaching certifications, or I have. And now we did retreat, we did all of that. And now it is being able to how you articulate and how you share your story. I mean, we're learning that too. So it's really fun to like
Mm.
experience that in real time.
Yes, yes.
Your story is so powerful, and I love that we connect on that only child, because I definitely think that that is so, like, an only child to only child, like, we did raise ourselves. We were by ourselves, and that actually came up a lot in retreat of just
Mm,
being like, I want community. I want to be seen. I want to have impact. I have all these things, but when you've kind of done it by yourself, there is that inward that you have to go to be able
mhm.
then to express that out into the world.
Yeah.
Um, oh man, where do we even start? Like, what conscious coach certification is like, well, I guess with that, share, if you don't mind sharing the breakdown of what women are going to get when they decide to join the conscious coach certification,
Yeah.
especially if they're feeling called to that. Because what I think is the parts of it that I thought I was like, oh, I'm going in for life coaching and I love human design. I mean, the biggest part and that I didn't realize I needed was someone else to cheer me on for my message and to
Mhm,
remind me that the deeper that I go, the deeper I get to go with my clients. The more work that I do, the more room and space that I'm going to be able to hold for clients. And sorry, this is all just coming up right now, but the beauty that, and one thing that you noted was that it's not about, I always say it's not about becoming a 2.0 version of yourself. It is truly coming back home to yourself. And I think that
mhm,
what you shared was so key in that, because I think so many women are striving to become this something that they think, when all we have to do is start reversing that and letting go of a lot of, in human design we call it the deconditioning, um or releasing a lot of these things that we're holding on to that actually are not us. They're just attached to us, or they were attached to us from school, from parenting, from growing up. And I just love that that is such a core part of the certification and just your vision and like as a whole, because and that speaks loudly in how you show up for us and remind us who we are. And have women like that in your corner while you're kind of going through your own transformation and you're trying to bring something out into the world is really key. To have women like you saying like, oh no, girl, this is who you are. Nope, anchor in. Yep, let's do the work. Because when we were at retreat, we did some work, which we can
yeah,
talk about and dive into if we
yeah,
want to.
yeah, we
Um,
do the work.
yeah, but let's talk a little bit just so people know the like what certifications are people getting within the Conscious Coach cert.
Totally. So, I'll start by sharing our philosophy because I feel like our philosophy is what leads us into what you're actually gonna be learning and what you're gonna be experiencing inside of Conscious Coach certification. So, through DCA, our philosophy is learn, live, and lead. There are so many people in the world who are self proclaimed coaches or they have a certificate of coaching, but they haven't actually done the work.
Mm,
And so we've created our program so that not only are you learning the tools, but you're actually creating your transformation while you're learning the tools, because that is going to be the cornerstone for you to be able to, like Lacie said, hold space for other people, take them further. You can only lead people as far as you have gone, and your journeys are going to be different and your experiences are going to be different. But the ability to hold and to lead and to guide can only go as far as the person who is the leader. Which is why you have to learn the concepts. Anyone can learn a concept and turn around and teach it,
mhm,
right? But it's the lived experience that actually turns you into someone who can help someone else make a change. We talk a lot at DCA about being the guide, right? We are the vessel, we are the guide. We are not here to tell people what to do. We're here to co create solutions with them, to guide them and lead them to who they've always been. Because if we were just to say, okay, here's the list of things that you need to do to get to this place, one, we're not empowering them to be able to evolve and grow past us, which is always my hope for every coach or every client that works with me. I want to give you the tools so that you don't need me. Like, I don't want you to need me, not because I don't want to be in your world, but because I want to empower you to lead
Mm.
yourself. And so that is where inside of our programs, we go through our life coach certification first, because that is where we make the initial transformation. That is where we dive into the work of the subconscious mind. This is where we talk about understanding and connecting to yourself through intuition, through meditation, through mindfulness, through self discovery, because so many of us are too afraid to face ourselves. Because that shit is scary. Sorry if I can't
Oh,
swear.
you can
I feel
swear.
like I can swear. Okay,
You
great.
can swear
Like,
on this
but
one.
really, that shit is scary to face ourselves fully, because we have taken our entire life experience based on what other people have told us is reality.
Mm.
So when we face that reality, and maybe parts of us are like, but I don't believe that, the fear that's going to come up there, the nervous system dysregulation that comes up from there. Our bodies, our minds, our souls are so interconnected, and they're leading us and guiding us on this journey. And so we take you through that full transformation of connection to your mind, your body, and your soul. So we start with life coach certification. And in that 12-week program, you get a spiritual life coach certification. You also get a meditation practitioner certificate, and then a breath practice certificate. And that is different from the breath work that we do later in the program. So that's the first 12 weeks of the program, where we are taking you through your personal transformation, and you are going through, you are facing versions of yourself. You're defining who you are. You are releasing what's holding you back. You are eliminating the things that are keeping you from that dream that you are desiring. And then you are also going to be accepting your authenticity and aligning to the person that you are wanting to be. And then you're going to master your mindset, and you're going to master yourself. And we go through that methodology in our life coaching program. And then we shift into adding more spiritually based and energetic based curriculum. So you go through and learn all about energetic alignment, which has a lot to do with how we exist in this world through energy, through the masculine, through the feminine.
Mm.
We talk about and we teach you all about human design, understanding that for yourself, but then also how to step into the leader of being able to help other people navigate that themselves. Astrology is something that we have added into our curriculum as of this next year. And so understanding the different planets and how they work for us, and how they're able to help us dive deeper into it's a different blueprint, right? It is a different blueprint that works with everything and all the different medicines that you learn. But some people are more called to astrology or to human design or to the subconscious mind. Or just like Lacie, you're like, I just thought I was going to get a life coaching certificate, right? And now you're like, here's all of these other modalities and tools that I
Yeah.
get to have access to. Okay, what am I forgetting? So we went through our spiritual life coaching, our meditation and breath work, our energetic alignment, human design, astrology. Okay. And then we step into um somatics
Mhm.
with breath work and sound healing,
Yes.
and also energetics through Reiki,
I'm
which
so excited for this one.
we are so excited. So it's so funny because of course, I love the curriculum we've created. I am so proud of it. I am so rooted in it. And I know that each and every piece of it is necessary for us to be able to claim conscious leaders, for us to be able to claim the space of spiritual life coach. But those three, man, those really, really hit the sound healing, the somatic breath work, and the Reiki. They hit really, really hard for those who are really feeling called to that medicine.
Mhm.
That is my medicine. Breath work, above all, is my medicine. It's funny because if you would have asked me a year and a half ago, I would have told you human design.
Mhm.
Human design was my medicine then. And then I stepped into utilizing breath work for myself. And the person that I became when I started integrating somatic breath work into my life, not just my work, but into my own personal life, I became the version of me that I never knew was possible. And I will get emotional about it
Yeah.
because It changed my children. It changed who I was as a mom, and in return, because we are all energy, the way that I showed up specifically for my son who has always been my mirror. If you saw pictures of him when he was little or even now, you'll see him and you're like, he is your twin. He's literally physically my twin, but also emotionally and energetically, he and I are so connected. And breath work saved my relationship with him in a time where I was like, how am I going to get through this? And so breath work became my medicine. And I knew it was something that we needed to bring into our curriculum. And then bringing in energy and sound healing were just a no brainer because of what I have been able to utilize it in conjunction with the breath work. And you don't have to use them all together. We have a lot of facilitators that use them separately, but I love the magic of bringing all of those together to create the most transformative healing experience for those who are ready to go deeper.
Mm.
So those are all of our certifications. It's a lot, and it's the reason why we have it in a 10-month
Mhm.
program is because it is so much to digest, and we could have, and I dabbled with the idea. I'm like, "Maybe we can fit this all in, like, 4 months," and I'm like,
Mhm.
"Absolutely not." Like, because our philosophy is learn, live, and lead. We want you to be able to integrate and really anchor into each modality, even if it's not a modality that you're necessarily going to use right now. Maybe it's something that will speak to you in the future. Or maybe there's going to be a conversation, or maybe there's going to be something you're going to navigate with yourself or with a client that you're like, I'm going to pull from this
Mhm.
toolbox and utilize this specific thing to help the people that I am feeling called to serve. Because that has evolved for me. And now I have this whole toolbox that I'm like, oh, I'm going to pull somatic breath work. Oh, I'm going to use some of my Reiki. Oh, I'm going to go back into literally my life coaching, the very basics. And I can be with a client that I have worked through those before, and we're going to go back because we are cyclical beings that are being reminded time and time and time again of the reminders that we need to heal and grow and evolve.
Yes. Yes. Well, it's interesting. Oh, thank you so much for sharing all of that. I mean, I know that there's the astrology part and the Reiki part that definitely is new and um may just be joining on certain parts of that or however and
Yes,
just
we have our
regularly.
alumni be able to join us for
Yes.
anything and everything we
Um
add in.
One thing, and I just want to hit point of like my experience through that 10-month, like it felt nerve wracking at first. Like I have to commit to something for 10 months.
Uh-huh.
But it's true because when you learn, live, lead, right? When you take that method and you actually start applying it throughout these 10 months, it is incredible how taking that time and having that time is actually so important.
Yeah.
Because while in some areas I was learning new things, so a lot of just the life coaching and the toolbox, like the tools that you get to help someone in life coaching, I'm actually like coming back to and going through
Mhm.
again, right? Because I'm a completely different person from when we started. And now I'm kind of revisiting those,
Yeah.
then being able to feel a lot more um, ready to then share and step into my gifts. Whereas like human design, oh my gosh, that was such a fun one. I loved seeing how like I kind of already knew about it. I definitely learned a whole lot more because of who you have coaching. And then with that, it was really fun to see a lot of women in our container who had zero desire to do human design, but when they started learning about it, they were able to learn more about themselves, which then
Mhm.
is going to help them in all of the other practices that they are actually feeling called to, whether that's the sound healing or the breath work and whatnot. And then in my own personal experience, not really experiencing breath work until we were at retreat,
Yeah.
which changed my entire life. Like that is truly your medicine. And I love that you share like it went from human design to breath work because that experience, there's not a whole lot of words to describe kind of what happened at retreat, except for that it is such a safe and beautiful place. And you are like, everyone is showing up in such a way that it's like, it's so incredible to spend that time with each other, and then to also bring those mentors in to also hold space for us. But I was like, breath work, like, I don't know, I'm excited for it, but I'm not necessarily ready to teach it quite yet. I know that it's in my future, but the best part about learning about it is being able to use it for myself. So I'm that like 3 to 5 steps behind Tara, and I'm
Mhm.
obsessed with the human design. How can I get that message out there for women to help them understand, find themselves, feel empowered, while I use the tool of the breath work in my own personal life. And then when that transformation happens, then I'll be able to bring that out for other women, when that time comes. And so it's so cool to just see how it's really one big toolbox. And being able to pull for to individualize for every single person, because we are human, like, that's so
Mhm.
important. And I think that is one thing that I'm taking away from this certification so far, is that I don't have to use it all. Because we sat down in our one-on-one and I was like, Tara, I'm terrified to teach breath work because my experience was so powerful and transformational, like, that it was almost scary to feel what came out, and
Yeah.
so beautiful and so amazing. But I'm like, I don't know if I can coach this. And I remember you just
Yeah.
being like, if it's right and if it becomes your medicine, it becomes your medicine. But I can now understand breath work to be able to direct people to who maybe they can go see where it is their medicine. I can say, hey, breath work is so powerful. Find someone local, or let me connect you with someone.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and that is has evolved. I was gonna say has always been my hope, but as I've been navigating this, like, our program evolves with us.
mhm,
But my hope and my purpose has always been to help you come back to you.
mhm,
Right? And so hearing your experience on the other side where you're like, "Okay, like, I'm obsessed with human design, but some of these other women, they're using it for their own personal tool, but they're not necessarily gonna be utilizing it." We hope that through Conscious Coach certification, yes, you're gonna get all these certificates to be able to step into the role of coach, but if you just use every single thing that you learned for yourself,
mm,
that is enough.
mhm,
That is enough, and I say that because that's what it was for me at first. Every single tool, every single methodology, every single thing that is inside of our curriculum, I utilized for myself first. I tested it for myself and it changed me.
mm,
And because it changed me, I'm like, I want to bring this to as many people as need it.
yeah,
Right? And then if I can empower you to create your own business or to be able to be a leader in network marketing or to be able to be a salon owner that has a team of people and you're able to work your teams or even just in motherhood, being able, ooh, today was the first day of school for my son. My can you tell? Me and my sweet Bubba, just wow. He is a projector and I am a generator. And so the way that we work together, woo, honey, he shows me so much and I hold him in a way that I hope that he can become the man that he is meant to be. And I know for sure he will. But today we had our first day of school and being able to stand outside of the elementary school and shield him with him. So I teach this inside of our energetic alignment. But essentially, when it comes to energy, being able to, especially as a projector,
mm,
he's going to be absorbing so much from the people around him. And he is going to, as a child, not really understand it, but energy is always moving and always flowing, even at that young age. And so being able to take him through and have that shielding experience of what's mine is mine,
mm,
what's yours is yours. You cannot take what is mine. I cannot take what is yours. I am filled with light and love. Nothing negative can come into my space. Just having that experience today on the first day of school,
Wow.
knowing that he is out in the world protected and shielded,
Yeah.
like that is enough for me,
Yep.
right? And I have the honor of taking all of those tools and teaching them to other women, to moms, to leaders, to help you at the end of the day reclaim your power
Mm.
and live in your potential, to remember who you've always been. I am here for those who have been called to lead, to heal, to guide, whether that's at home, whether
Mhm.
that's in a workplace, in a corporate setting, in a coaching setting, in a breathwork facilitation, in a retreat, like whatever that looks like for the women that come into my world. I want them to have that remembrance and then have this confidence behind them as well, knowing like I experienced the tools, I know what it's like. I've deepened my ability to heal myself, and that is going to deepen my ability to support others in their healing. And I say supporting others in their healing because we are not meant to heal others.
Mm.
We are here to guide and lead them to their own healing because we are the healers. We just bring the medicine that they need at the time that they need it. And that is going to change
Mhm.
different times in their life and through different people that we're going to experience. And so hearing your experience of what you've gained through this is just like, just makes me feel like, okay, we're doing it. And I know consciously we're doing it, but being able to be on this other side and watching the transformation that you and all of the other women in your program specifically have gone through, it makes me excited for the next round of women and what they are going to be able to go through because my well is deeper to hold them.
Mhm.
And since my well is deeper and our community well is deeper, their healing is going to be deeper and deeper.
Oh, it's so good. I mean, the girls that we got to hang out with and just to see them just, oh, was so powerful. And then just getting to cheer them on and see them feel
Mhm.
so much more confident in the direction that they're going and where they are feeling called. And then also, I mean, for me, it was a personal weekend. It was going inward more than anything.
Yeah.
Um, I love that you shared that, like, the protection, the shielding, because I actually
Mhm.
hadn't really done that myself up until we had that conversation in one of our, units, I guess, or with oh my gosh, the energetic alignment part.
Mhm.
And it's something that I've just been the way that you say it is incredible, and the way that I've been visually trying to show up for myself because, as someone who has been so worried about what other people think of her, and then
Mhm.
also being too loud, being too this, thinking, "Oh my gosh, I'm putting that on other people." That shielding part is so powerful because I view it as like blowing a bubble and then it like going around me and just being able to really be myself and allow other people to be themselves and then
Mhm.
like not having it's just that protection, I guess.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
and then being able to share that with your child, like, to me, I agree with you hands down. Like, if anything and anything that I've learned allows me to just like show up for my children in such a different way, like, I don't need anything else. And again, like,
Mm.
if I get to help transform other women's lives, that's just the icing on top. Like, that's just the cherry on top. Um, and that just to me was so powerful because human design actually changed the way that I mother and the way that I see Parker, who he's a manifester, and so I'm a generator. We have a projector in our house. There's lots of energy happening,
I
but
see you.
there, I just with him, there was this disconnect from the time that he was born, and I just had so much shame and so much guilt. And when I learned about his human design and I learned about how that kind of works, and just he has really big energy and he's almost this leader energetically in our family, I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, I'm not crazy." Not that I'm like, "Go do whatever you want," but I just realized I was trying to make him a certain way to be more like me, and he is not. Like, he literally has the gift of creating and
Mm,
being and knowing exactly where he's going. And so the way that I get to now raise him is so differently than how I'm even raising Emery because they're just different. And I
yeah,
feel like that is the part that I love the most is that it's transforming me as a mom. I mean, all of it's transforming me because I'm going inward, but there is something being a mom and being able to see how it's affecting and rippling into our families, like that's the best part of being able
yeah,
to take some of these tools.
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
yeah. And then the guiding, like you shared just that we're a guide. I think personally from the up until really diving into the conscious coach certification in the social media world and the life coaching world that I had kind of seen playing out in front of my eyes, not everyone, was very much like, let me tell you my exact blueprint. Let me tell you exactly what I'm going to do for you.
Mhm,
And that always kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but I couldn't figure out why. And then I feel like the my eyes were opened when we jumped into the conscious coach certification because it really is like leading is just guiding. It's creating a safe place for women to show up or whoever you choose to coach. But for me, it's
mhm,
women and that I'm not trying to change anyone. And my favorite, like to me, it was like, oh my gosh, like it's truly being able to say you have it all within you. You literally and the part of coaching that I love and that I'm seeing kind of show up is like I just remind them key pieces of who they are. Like, hey,
mm,
from a human design standpoint, when you go to make a decision, listen to your gut or let
yeah,
your emotions flow first. Then let's talk about that. Like, or, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're right. I was worried about what so and so was thinking. And so I think that guide part is huge because we really are just a vessel allowing them to 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 create the experience that they actually need.
mm,
And then I got to feel that firsthand during the retreat because in my breath work, like it was crazy. It was the anger was coming up and the screaming was coming up. I had no idea what to expect. I don't even know if half of us knew what to fully expect. And it wasn't you doing the work, it was you creating a safe place for me to let go of what I've been holding on to, and that was just my personal experience. Everyone experiences it so differently.
mhm,
Um, but it was you being able to say, "Hey, I'm opening this up. I'm allowing you to have a safe place." You then get to do the work to the capacity that you're able to show up. And I
mhm.
joked that my energy was like, "Hold my beer. I have everyone here. We are gonna show up because we're sick and tired of it." And I mean, I it was a big release. It was a big yeah, it was so healing for me.
Yeah,
So to be able to learn that and then in retreat actually be able to experience what it feels like to help guide someone versus trying to change them or tell
yeah,
them what to do was just it was so powerful for me.
yeah. Well, and it goes back to kind of something I shared at the beginning where I wanna empower you to be able to heal without me.
Mhm.
Right? I don't want to be the one that you're like, "Okay, I have to hold your hand
Yep.
to be able to get through it." It's like, "Girl, if you need me to hold your hand, I've got you. And also, you've got you."
Mhm.
Right? And that's the place that at Dream Coach Academy we want to be is empowering you to come back to you,
Mhm.
right? You don't need us to heal. Right? But we're happy to hold that for you. You don't need to be fixed. There's nothing wrong with you because I think a lot of times when people step into the world of coaching, they're like, here's what's wrong with me. Here's my problems. Help me fix all my problems. And it's like, there's literally nothing wrong with you. You just need to decide what you want
Mhm.
and figure out what you need to let go of to get what you want. And sometimes that is stepping in as the life coach and going through subconscious programming and stories and limiting beliefs. And sometimes that's looking at your energetic alignment. Okay, is there something in your masculine and your feminine that's imbalanced? Are you leaning more towards hustling and grinding, or are you in this space of just like flowing and not having structure? Or is there something happening astrologically where you are able to see yourself more clearly? Are you out of alignment through your human design?
Mhm.
Are you feeling, is your nervous system dysregulated? And so we need to bring in sound healing, or we need to bring in breath practices. Or are you storing energy that has been brought to you and you just haven't allowed yourself to emotionally express because so many of us were taught to emotionally hold it in, right?
Mhm.
Do not express, push it down, push it down. So, yeah, we need to move that through with breath work, or maybe with the support of a conduit utilizing Reiki energy, right? There's so many different ways for us to heal. And each and every one of us is going to respond to different things at different times in different places, and going to have that need for a space holder.
Mhm.
Whether the space holder is, let's work through those stories, or let's balance your energy, or let's move through some of this energy, or I'm going to give you a practice that you can use every single day. But guess what? If I'm giving you a meditation or a breathwork practice that I'm asking you to use every single day, I'm not doing that. You're doing that,
Yeah.
right? So we're creating that space, we're creating that education and teaching and guiding so that we can all come home,
Mm.
right? And it's all come home. And one of the things that I hold so dear is our ability to have created a soul family, the sisterhood. And if you're on the outside looking in, you're going to hear us talk about the sisterhood and you're like, cute for you, but like truly, there are women who have come through different iterations of our program and they have met their best friends.
Mhm.
They have met the women who have helped them through hard pregnancies, infertility, navigating different business things, whatever it is. I truly believe that one of the gifts that I have is, yes, being able to help you see who you are, but also being able to connect the people who are needing to be connected. And the only way that I can do that is by staying in my alignment, by staying in my power, by utilizing the tools and utilizing the medicine that I teach other people, right? And that's what makes a leader, is someone who's willing to go there time and time again, not just the first time, right? It's not just going through that breathwork session and like having the demons come out of you, because that was it for me. Like when you say your anger came up, I was like, the way that I lost my voice after a specific breathwork experience, I was like, oh, she's angry, turns out, right? But because I was able to face that,
Mhm.
I was able to see that shadow and be like, okay, I let it go.
Yeah.
And now I can hold more space for other people because I've let those things go. But I continue to face that. And I continue to face my human, and I continue to face my fears, and I continue to face my shadows. And I continue to use all of the tools that I teach, right? You said you're at the end of this program and now you're going back to the life coaching tools. Like I go back to those all of the time. I ask myself the question, what do I want? All of the time, because that is the number one question that led me to being where I am right now,
Mm.
because never in my life did I ask myself the question, what do I want? Not what do I want to do? Not what do I want to be? What kind of mother do I need to be? What do I need to do to make money? Like, what do I want
Mhm.
fundamentally? And that's coming back to you, right? Answering those questions for yourself, navigating that for yourself, while also having a community that is gonna hold you there. We're gonna keep you in check too, right? We're not just gonna be like, "Oh, you're doing amazing." You're like, "You're doing amazing, and let's go a little bit deeper when you're ready."
Yep. I do wanna point a little bit more on that, the sisterhood,
Mhm.
because I think coming from an only child, I just again, I kinda share that, like, community wanting that family. And I've gone through this transformation of like the church into who am I and where do I even belong? And so when you can find these key relationships, and I think that is a gift of yours, is bringing community, it's incredible what happens after.
Mhm.
Um, in I in the middle of I keep going back to the breath work, the experience that I had at retreat, but I think it's so key because I remember laying there sobbing my eyeballs out, screaming, yelling. I didn't even fully know what was going on, but I do remember kind of looking up and you guys had formed a circle around me and just really holding space. And but internally what was happening was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe like you're doing this right now. Like, oh, you're such an only child. It has to always be about you, right? These internal dialogues that I
Mm.
had dealt with for most of my life of like, the world doesn't revolve around you, Lacie. And it was interesting having this like dialogue, but then having this deeper knowing. And I just remember laying there and like resting in it. And that was just be seen, like be
Mhm.
seen in the most, what felt like the most vulnerable moment. Um, and just be seen, like just be seen. And it felt so good to be seen and to be held and to know that these women that we like, we're all there for support. And it truly changed like the direction and the projection of my life that weekend. um so being able to pull all of the certification, but then having that retreat, I think is so special because it's
Mhm.
the in person, it is the work, it's the coming together, it's this building community, it's the cheering each other on, it's building the confidence, it's having your voice be heard, it's being able to hold space for people. And I think that that is just one thing that is probably my favorite part of all of it. Because I
The
had such an incredible
retreat
experience.
the retreat is always my favorite
Yeah,
because and maybe it is the only children in us, right? But I love being, like,
yeah.
physically being in the presence of my people,
Mhm,
right? And that is why inside of Conscious Coach certification, we have a 3.5 day retreat that's
mhm,
built in. And for those that can't join us, that's totally
mhm.
fine. We have options for that. But like,
But
make it a
go.
priority.
But you
Like, but
have
make it a priority because truly the transformation that happens at the retreat, you go through this like full transformation as you're learning and as you're bringing more certifications and as you're just integrating more and more of self. And then you step into the retreat home. And there's a reason why we host it in an Airbnb. And there's a reason why we sleep in bunk beds. And there's a reason why we all gather around in the kitchen,
to.
right? Because we are calling in our soul family. And as we allow ourselves to be in that space of vulnerability, because you're stepping into this space with people that, yes, you've met them virtually, many of them, but there's some people that you've never met, right? And some of our education team comes and you're like, who's that girl and who's this girl, right? And you come into this vulnerable experience with the plan to learn how to facilitate breathwork and sound.
Mhm,
And what happens is you see yourself. You see yourself and you meet yourself, and you're held by the other women who are allowing themselves to be seen in their truest forms. And that is the magic of what we do at Conscious Coach certification, right? I think it all comes down to really seeing and being seen
mhm,
because that's all we want as humans. All we want as humans is to be seen, to feel loved, right? And we have brought that together in a beautiful opportunity through our certification program, but specifically at our retreat. The retreat is everybody's favorite, right? It is everybody's favorite. but it's everyone's favorite because we're able to be seen on a level that many other people, even people closest to us, will never see us. But I think more than that is we see ourselves,
Mhm.
maybe for the first time, right? And every time I facilitate a retreat, I see a new version of me too, right? And it's so empowering. And I am continually honored and humbled to be able to hold that space and to bring the women together who are meant to be there. And I truly do believe that they're meant to be there. And then you leave and you go back to your life, a new version of self, one with the remembering and seeing yourself in a new light, and you move through life differently. You truly do. And we don't leave you there, right? We continue to spend time together. We have our community. We have connection calls where we come together and we encourage you to connect deeper to the women that you went through the retreat with. And it truly is lifelong friends.
Mhm. I love it.
I'm so grateful that you trusted me being like, "Lacie, you need to do
Oh,
this."
yeah. I needed you to see that in me,
Mhm.
because that's just where I was at, is this time in my life that crazy things were happening, and I was believing it,
Mhm.
um, but I remember in one of our little ceremonies together just voicing, like, "Thank you for seeing and voicing what you see in me because I don't always see that in myself." And I know part of that is my human design, which is really cool to learn because then I am more open to hearing, like, people that I trust or, you showing up and saying, like, "No, you have to be here." I'm like,
Mhm.
"Okay, let's go." And I knew I needed to be, but I didn't know I needed to be. I didn't know the
Yeah.
version of Lacie and the people that I'd get to surround myself to where I feel like this is who I am, world. Like, I don't want to hide anymore. And I've been on this journey for 6 years, but
Yeah.
this was the like, oh no, like it's time to like actually show up. And I'm so grateful that you saw that and that you were like, we got to get you in here. And so we did. Um,
Yes.
oh, Tara, thank you so much for our time. And
Yes.
sharing just like your heart and your vision and just the depth of that. I so appreciate it. I think that I would love to ask you just a few questions just because in my little world, like I talk a lot about like morning rituals and
Yeah.
who I am. So I would love to hear one of your morning rituals that just are so near and dear to your heart to help you like start your day or practice.
Yeah. Yeah. So I always do my best to start my day with movement overall. And some day, like it looks different, right? One day that's going to be a walk. One day it's going to the gym and lifting heavy things. Another day that might look like just like moving my body intuitively, right? Stretching. I also love stillness with the sun.
Mhm.
So I will, as I can. So I have 3 kids. My oldest is 8. I have a 6-year-old, and then my almost 4-year-old manifester. So I see you. We've got all the energy in this house too. But I will do my best to sit in front of our back window as the sun's shining through and just sit in stillness. And whether that is listening to a meditation track or having my daughter come sit with me and I brush her hair or I drink cacao. For me in this season of life, I allow myself to just connect to me,
Mhm.
and it looks different every single day.
Yes. It's almost like I could have paid you to say that. No, 'cause I
Well,
mean
it's the truth.
it's true, and I get to see you, like, actually getting to follow you, I do see that, and I love that it does look different, and I think someone who sometimes has been really rigid in the past to be able to
Mhm.
see you evolve and be like, oh, we're gonna switch it up here. um it reminds me like it's okay to switch things up. And
Mm,
then obviously, like, again, the whole heart behind like what I'm building with the Rise and Radiate is to remind women that just we're just creating space for you to um be able to go back in and to actually just check
mhm,
in with yourself. So and
yeah.
it's true. It's like that's what these rituals are for, to fill your cup. And so I love that you probably ask yourself daily, like, okay, what does Tara need today?
Mhm.
So,
What do I need? What do I have the capacity for? What does our schedule look
yes,
like?
because we're moms.
And yeah, as a mom and a business owner, and it's funny, I feel like going into the school year, I'm navigating a new season, and I'm like, okay, because before I would wake up at 5:45 and I'd go to the gym like 3 or 4 days a week, and now my sweet son has to be at the school so much earlier, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna figure it out,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, the pouring into myself is so important, because I know it makes me a better mom, it makes me a better leader, it makes me a better business owner. And so I'm gonna commit to it. It's gonna look different and it's gonna be messy, but it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Ah, you're so real, because that's just like that's just reality. That's life. It's life
Mhm,
will life. It's just
mhm.
navigating it.
Yeah.
Okay, so where can people find you?
Yes, so I spend my time on Instagram. My personal Instagram is I am Tara Kirby. That's where I kind of show the behind the scenes of what it looks like to navigate being a mom, running a business. And I, like Lacey said, I like to keep it real.
Mhm.
I'm a spiritual girly, but I'm still in the matrix. And then you can find Dream Coach Academy on Instagram as well, at Dream Coach Academy. We share a lot more of the tools and the practices and all of our certification over there. And I'll sprinkle that in on my Instagram as well.
Because, human, and it's a part of our life. Like, our business
Yes,
is
it
part of
is.
our life.
It
And
is.
then, is there anything that you are wanting to share that may be coming up in the future, or things to look forward to for women
Yeah.
to know?
So, we are currently open for registration for our Conscious Coach certification program. We start our next class September 10th. We close registration the night before. So, we close registration 9/9. And so, you'll be able to join us for 10 months. That 10 months includes the 8 certifications, a 3.5 day all inclusive retreat. So, it's a virtual and in person hybrid experience. You'll be a part of our community and it'll be amazing. We start our spiritual life coaching in September. And then we will be starting another round of Conscious Coach certification in January if the September class does not align with you. And with that, there's also a retreat included as well.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you. I have chills because I feel like the right people, and that's true. It's just like the right
Mhm.
people come into your world. And that's the beauty of like not trying to make things happen, but rather just sharing and then
Yeah.
allowing the magic to happen. So
Mm.
if you can, at the time of the recording, get into um, the Conscious Coach certification with Tara and her team. And I'm going to be a fly on the wall at retreat because I'm like, it's so good.
It is.
But I will link all of that too in the show notes so that everyone can find you, and then you'll have the updates for future retreats and future certification as well.
Amazing.
Thank you so much for sharing your heart. You are
Mm,
literally gold, my friend.
mm. Honored to be here. Thank you for seeing me.
Oh, it's part of my human design. I That's something I learned is like my heart is to help share other people's story and to
Mm,
hear their story, and to I see a vision, I see what they're doing, and I'm like, everyone has to know about this. So,
I love it.
all
Well, you're
right.
doing it.
Oh, we are. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hey, it is Lacie Jaye with I forgot what I was going to say. All right. Hey, it is Lacie Jaye with Hey Lacie Jaye, the podcast, where we take a whole ass approach to life. I am so excited for today's episode. I have the beautiful, amazing Tara Kirby on the podcast sharing about her, I don't know what to say.